Morning, everyone. I'll call this meeting of the Planning and Economic Development Committee for Tuesday, February the 7th, 2023 to order. Madam Clerk, if we could start with the roll call. Remember, roll call is done by pushing your button. Yes, if you're here. No, if you're not here. Okay. Are there any declarations of interest, members of the committee? Seeing none. Can I have a motion to adopt the minutes of our meeting of January 10, 2023? Councillor Neal, seconded by Councillor Kerr. Any comments, questions, or otherwise? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. There are no statutory public meetings. Chair Henry, I understand you. Hold on, I get this thing working here.
Thank you, Chair. I will give you a motion to alter the agenda to bring the delegation by Jeff Carpenter reading the Durham Environmental Advisory Committee to be moved up in the agenda to come before presentations.
Could I have a seconder on that, please? Mayor Watton, thank you. If you remember, we had some technical difficulties at our last meeting and with Mr. Carpenter, so we'll get him up and out. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Good morning, Mr. Carpenter. Hold on.
Speak.
Okay. There we go.
Good, I think. Yes. Good morning. And thank you for accommodating me. I am challenged a little bit when it comes to computers occasionally. So I thought I'd better just show up in person. At least that way I know how to speak.
It's a pleasure to see you, Jeff.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm here today to give a presentation about DEAC. But first, I'd like to say good morning to Councillor Chapman, to Regional Chair Henry, to the councillors that are here, and to staff. Durham Environmental Advisory Committee is now called the Durham Environmental and Climate Advisory Committee. We've changed our mandate, or in the process of changing our mandate now, to be a little bit more inclusive with respect to the initiatives the region is doing in response to climate change. I have been chair of the committee for 4 consecutive years. I've been sort of proud to hold that role. It's an excellent committee. It's founded in members that have a diverse range of skills within the various environmental concerns that the region might be interested in. So I'm going to give an overview of the 2022 annual report. Some of the highlights that we had with respect to our mandate was to try to not only serve the region, but also to try to make sure that we are self-educating at the same time. So in that context, we wanted to make sure that we had presentations given to us that would help us better understand what the region's trying to accomplish and then provide advice that would be foundational for them. So some of the presentations that we saw were on the Durham Meadowway, Crothers Creek Watershed Plan, TRCA's updated Regional Natural Heritage System and Water Resource System Mapping. I'm sorry for reading these, but I don't want to miss any of them. The Regional Natural Heritage System, the Town of Whitby Climate Emergency Response Plan, Durham Greener Homes Program, Friends of Second Marsh, and Durham Wastewater Treatment Sludge and Biosolids. And each of these had a different focus that brought some knowledge to us. And we participated not just as a passive listener, but we also tried to provide feedback where we could into the various projects that were being described to us. We also provided advice on a variety of issues, including the Crothers Creek Headwaters in the Greenbelt and Crothers Creek Watershed Management Plan, the Municipal Comprehensive Review Process, for providing input and comments on Envision Durham, the Regional Natural Heritage System and Growth Management Study. And we also provided comment back on the Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, Township of Uxbridge, Region of Durham, pilot initiative in the Durham Regional Forest. In addition, we provided comments on various official plans, the Whitby Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw Review, the Durham Regional Agricultural System, and Durham Climate Commission. So it's a very wide scope of things that we gave feedback on. Members were engaged in community outreach and stewardship activities, including preparing for and implementing spring bee pollinator seed distribution projects at regional compost day events across all 8 area municipalities. In that context, we had direct contact with over 1,200 residents of Durham region, providing them some insight into not just bees and pollinators, but also what the region is about with respect to trying to respect the environment and make it a better place to live. We additionally run Durham Environmental Achievement Awards, and we have a subcommittee that's set up to deal with that. And we try to recognize members of the community who have made outstanding contributions in that regard. Embarrassingly, the committee also nominated me as one of the recipients for an environmental award from Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority. I didn't win, but I was pretty honored to be nominated for that award by the committee. We participated in various environmental advisory committees, including various local environmental advisory committees, the Port Granby Project Citizen Liaison Group, the Duffin Creek Water Pollution Control Plan Advisory Committee, Friends of Second Marsh Board of Directors, and the Ontario Breeding Bird Atlas. The latter project I lead on behalf of the province locally for the region of Durham. DEAC awards were also given The DEAC awards were already given out. So in summary, we had many notable accomplishments in 2022. We learned a lot, and hopefully we taught a little bit back to the staff of the region to make their job a little bit easier. We'd like to thank Councillor Yamada for his involvement and ongoing support of the committee throughout 2022, and we welcome Councillor Shahid, well, good morning, to serve as our new liaison for the coming term. I met her virtually, but it's nice to see her in person here today. I personally would like to thank staff for their ongoing support, in particular Anissa Luckman, who served as staff liaison in 2022, Neela Prasad and Sarah Siani from Legislative Services, who provided incredible support and kept me on track. I need a lot of guidance, thank you, throughout the various meetings that we held. And finally, I would like to thank the Planning and Economic Development Committee and Regional Council for their continued support of DEAC. And so ends my report. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Thank you, and I need a lot of guidance as well. That's why there's 3 clerks here when I'm in the chair seat, right? They're keeping me in line. But also congratulations on your nominations. It's excellent that your peers recognize the work that you're doing, and I know the committee and council certainly appreciate all you've done as the chair for the last 4 years. Any comments or questions from committee? Councillor Shahid.
Chair Chapman, just a small comment. I'm looking forward to work with the committee and see what the work that we can do to move things. So thank you so much for the welcome. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That looks like it's it, Jeff. Thanks very much. And
Perfect.
Thanks for coming in person. Pleasure to see you, and have a good day.
Thank you. One last quick comment. By the way, the remote voting system works perfectly. I voted for the chair when I was in Uruguay. Congratulations.
Okay, moving on, we're at 5.1. We'll now have a presentation by Stacey Jibb, the Manager of Agriculture and Rural Economic Development, and Glenn McFarland, the Rural Program Specialist, about Growing North Durham Rural Economic Development Action Plan. Good morning, Stacey. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Whenever you're ready, then please proceed, folks. Thanks.
Perfect. Hello, Chair and members of committee. My name is Stacey Jibb, and I'm the Manager of Agriculture and Rural Economic Development. I'm joined today by my colleague, Glenn McFarland, who is our Rural Economic Development Specialist. Today, we'll be providing an overview of the Growing North Durham, a Rural Economic Development Plan. There's also a corresponding staff report on today's agenda, which includes a copy of the draft plan. Before we dive into the plan, we'd like to highlight some relevant plans and strategies that complement the Growing North Durham plan. So first, we have the Ready Set Future plan, which was endorsed by committee. It represents a broad regional focus for economic development. The Growing North Durham plan, on the other hand, identifies specific goals and objectives related specifically to supporting economic development in the townships of Scugog, Uxbridge, and Brock over the next 5 years. We also have the broadband strategy, which is being implemented by our Durham OneNet team. Our Durham Tourism and Invest Durham marketing teams are working on action plans. And then, of course, the Growing Agri-Food Durham plan, which we felt was important to highlight, given that agriculture is such a vital component of the economy in North Durham. Now onto some background. So leading up to the development of the Growing North Durham Plan, we did use the Vibrant North Durham Plan, which was in existence from 2013 to 2018 as a base starting point. In 2019, the Ainley Group was retained to update the Vibrant North Durham Plan. They also held a number of consultation sessions across all of the North Durham communities. In 2020, we had a few changes, including staff, the pandemic, and we took that time to update the economic data that would help to inform the development of the Growing North Durham Plan we have today. In 2021, we began work internally on updating our agri-food plan, the regional economic development strategy, and in parallel, we started to work again on updating the Vibrant North Durham Plan so they would all coordinate together. In 2022, we held consultations with economic development advisory committees and other key partners across North Durham, and we rebranded the plan from Vibrant North Durham to the Growing North Durham Plan. That brings us to today, where we're looking to have this plan endorsed. The Vibrant North Durham Plan, which was in place from 2013 to 2018, helped to formalize a North Durham coordinated approach to economic development. The Growing North Durham Plan builds on the successes of Vibrant North Durham, wherein the delivery of economic development programming relies on collaboration between the region, the townships of Scugog, Uxbridge, and Brock, economic development advisory committees, as well as business support organizations like our boards of trade, chambers, and VIAs. The socioeconomic similarities across North Durham and the desire to work together helps to achieve common overarching goals and will lead to the success of this plan over the next 5 years. In the coming months, we will work with each township to develop implementation plans that take into consideration their specific needs, resources, and the various partners involved. I'll now pass things over to Glenn to walk us through the pillars of the plan.
Perfect. Thank you, Stacy, and good morning, everybody. So I'm going to take us through the 3 pillars identified within the plan. Under each pillar, there are several goal areas as well as high-level actions for each goal. For the sake of time, we will only go over a sample of actions identified, and a full list of actions can be found in the attached strategy. So the first pillar of the plan is people. The objective of the people pillar is to recognize and capitalize on the strong correlation between human capital and economic growth. The first goal area is to support entrepreneurship. A key action under this goal area is to reintroduce and host the annual North Durham Building Business Forum. The second goal area is skills, talent, and workforce development. We're currently conducting a skills gap analysis and commuter study for the North, and we plan to use this analysis to develop sector-specific workforce strategies. And the last goal area under this pillar is to foster the innovation economy. Here, we plan to showcase innovation success stories from across the North and foster relationships with key businesses to deliver programs and services that support the adoption of new technologies and innovative approaches to doing business. Next is the places pillar. The objective of this pillar is to highlight and strengthen North Durham's unique qualities of place that stimulate meaningful connections to the community. First, the first goal area under this pillar is to welcome new and diverse businesses. So a key action under this pillar, or under this goal area, is to work with local business support organizations to reinitiate the Red Welcome Wagon programs. We are also in the midst of launching business toolkits on each of the 3 Northern Township websites to act as central resources for new and expanding businesses. And the next goal area under this pillar is vibrant downtowns. Here, we'd like to continue to support the implementation of downtown revitalization action plans, such as My Uxbridge Downtown, or review existing action plans, such as Shop Brock. And the third goal area here is to showcase North Durham. Here, we plan to develop multimedia campaigns to promote North Durham's value proposition to domestic and international audiences, as well as highlight business success stories from North Durham through the Invest Durham and Durham Tourism channels. And the final key pillar of this plan is the prosperity pillar. The objective of this pillar is to encourage business retention and make informed decisions to encourage and enable economic growth. The first goal area here is investment readiness. Here, we'd like to complete an investment readiness self-assessment and develop a process to more effectively respond to investment inquiries on behalf of the North. Going along with this is we'd like to continue to compile, maintain, and share relevant community and economic data. The next goal area is business retention and expansion. Here, we'd like to establish a standardized business visitation program across the North to help develop relationships with with the business community to identify challenges, opportunities, provide resources, and establish baseline data for year-over-year comparison. And the last goal area here is employment lands, connectivity, and economic infrastructure. Here, we'd like to explore opportunities to expand the South Lake Community Futures catchment area into the townships of Scugog and Uxbridge, as well as continue to provide connections and support the appropriate staff and teams that are leading major infrastructure projects and improvements throughout the North, such as broadband, employment lands servicing, transit, etc. I'll now pass it back to Stacey.
Thanks, Glenn. So in terms of next steps, we have completed presentations to councils in the townships of Scugog, Uxbridge, and Brock, and they have all endorsed the plan. Going forward, we'll work with economic development advisory committees and other key partners to develop implementation plans. These plans will identify the specifics around timelines, performance metrics, leads, and detail what implementation will look like for each township. We anticipate this process to be very collaborative, so everyone who's involved in implementing this plan can have a say in what implementation looks like in their communities. At this point, I'd also like to mention that we will be providing annual updates to each council in North Durham, as well as Planning and Economic Development Committee going forward. Thank you so much. That concludes our presentation for today, and we would be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Well done. You have to do your request there, Councillor Kerr. Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Chair, and through you to the presenters. Thank you very much this morning. Just have one question to clarify a piece. I think it was on your third pillar slide to do with investment ready self-assessment. I'm just wondering whether you could say, is that the completion of the form that you're going to administer, or is it the completion of the process, and if so, to whom?
Yes, so through the chair, thank you for the question. It's more of a process. So looking at how we respond to investment inquiries on behalf of North Durham, we do need to work with those municipalities, their respective planning divisions, and that sort of thing. So it's more of a looking at the process we're using when we respond to investment inquiries and investment
So
needs.
it's your self-readiness to respond.
As well as the municipalities, yeah. So working with them to make sure we have the pieces in place, a good inventory of vacant properties so we can respond quickly, relationships with landowners, those sorts of things are all involved in that.
So it wouldn't be, for instance, the downtowns or the various farm areas, it's not them being ready to look for investments in their business, it's more the municipality to look at bringing in new investment. Is that what we're saying here?
Correct. So more looking at incoming investment as opposed to business retention or expansion.
Okay, thank you very much. That's clear. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Great. Thank you. Well done. So we'll move on to the next one, which is
I'll
Stacey
just stay up
again.
here. Yep.
Best practices for on-farm diversified uses. When you're ready.
Perfect. I'll just wait for the presentation to pop up here. Excellent. Hello again, everyone. I'll skip the introductions this time. This presentation will provide an overview of best practices for on-farm diversified uses, and more information can be found in the report in today's agenda. Before we begin, some background. So the guidelines to permitted uses in Ontario's prime agricultural areas, which is the document on the left of the screen, was released by the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs in 2016. So it's meant to assist municipalities, decision makers, farmers, and others interpret the policies in the provincial policy statement. Throughout this presentation, I will refer to this document as the guidelines. A subsequent document, which is the document pictured on the right of the screen, was released in November 2022 titled Guidelines on Permitted Uses as a Tool to Achieve Farmland Protection, Farm Diversification, and Economic Benefits. This report was released by the University of Guelph and funded in part by the Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. It further clarifies and identifies best practices specifically related to on-farm diversified uses, or OFDUs for short. The purposes of today's presentation and the associated report is to provide an overview of the document released in November 2022 by the University of Guelph. So what are OFDUs, or on-farm diversified uses? So on-farm diversified uses are one of three categories of permitted uses in Ontario's prime agricultural areas. The provincial policy statement identifies 5 policy criteria for OFDUs as shown on the slide. So they must be located on a farm, they must be secondary to the principal agricultural use, they must be limited in area, so 2% of the farmland up to a maximum of 1 hectare. They can include, but are not limited to, home occupations, home industries, agritourism, and value-added uses. And they must be compatible with and not hinder surrounding agricultural operations. There are many broad economic benefits to supporting OFDUs for both farms, communities, and from a tourism perspective. So some of these benefits include the ability to diversify farm revenue to make agribusinesses stronger and more resilient. There's also the potential to create more high-value jobs in agricultural and rural areas. It supports and strengthens the family farm, so it creates new job opportunities for a wider range of skill sets and helps to keep family farm members working on the farm rather than having to seek jobs elsewhere. It also strengthens the rural economy and increases economic activity between other local businesses. It contributes to our local downtown areas through increased tourism, spending, and services that stem from various new on-farm uses through OFDUs. It provides education to the public on where our food comes from, and opportunities for cultural exchange. In June 2022, Regional Council endorsed the Growing Agri-Food Durham Plan. This is a 5-year plan to grow the agri-food industry in Durham Region. This is an action plan associated with the Ready Set Future Regional Economic Development Strategy and focuses on advancing agri-food as a priority cluster for the region of Durham. The Growing Agri-Food Durham Plan identifies OFDUs as an emerging trend and economic growth opportunity for Durham Region. Specifically, Goal 3 in the plan aims to enable and encourage agriculture-related, on-farm diversified, and agritourism uses. This will be done by providing policy support and input from an economic development lens, sharing resources, and providing tools and workshops for businesses who may be looking to diversify their farm operations. So in terms of best practices, the best practices report I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation is based on research conducted by the University of Guelph over the prior year. This includes interviews with farm organizations, rural municipal planning departments across Ontario, and over 150 farms looking to diversify their farm operations. The research team presented to the Durham Agricultural Advisory Committee as well as the Agricultural Advisory Committee of Clarington to present their draft report. Some of the best practices from the report are implement the guidelines into local level policy approaches, including definitions and zoning bylaws, size and scale criteria, and as of right land use permissions for OFDUs. Municipalities should have pre-consultation meetings with farmers to increase awareness of what applications, timelines, and fees may be required when looking to do OFDUs on your property. And where possible, responsible, and feasible, municipalities should scale back fees and requirements for farmers applying for OFDU development permissions. To assist municipalities with evaluating OFDU applications, the Best Practices Report also debuts the 5 tests of an OFDU pre-consultation compatibility tool. This tool can be used to assist municipalities in determining the relative merits and impacts of different policy choices to ensure that OFDUs are screened for their compatibility, potential on- and off-site impacts, and that they meet the criteria identified earlier in the provincial policy statement. That concludes the presentation for today, and I would be happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Stacey. Well done. I think, Councillor Pickles, this might lead into the questions you had at our last meeting to the chair of the Agriculture Advisory Committee. So, and I see you got some questions. Go ahead.
Oh, I almost pressed the button. Thank you. A couple things. We had heard the first delegation today was talking about providing input to, I think it was Whitby's comprehensive planning bylaw. Pickering is going through a similar exercise as well. Does any of the zoning and other municipal planning tools you spoke of in here, has that resulted in your having a look at those comprehensive planning review exercises, comprehensive bylaws?
So through the chair, I can say specifically for Pickering, we have been engaged with some of the planning staff at Pickering undertaking that review, and we have shared these best practices with them. So the report from the University of Guelph goes into much more detail on best practices specifically for municipalities. So we've shared that with them as well to ensure they have that as they're going through their zoning bylaw review.
Okay, thanks. And I think what the chair was referring to was, and I know you recall this, but when we talk about diversification, and one of the guidelines you put up from the report was it had to be sort of secondary use to the property. So again, the example I used at the previous meeting was if you grow kale and turnips, you can't sell raspberry and cherry pies. Is that sort of what you're saying in that? Or is there more wiggle room than that with respect to the guidelines?
I might see if my planning colleagues want to chime in specifically on that, and if not, I can take a stab at the question, but it is a bit of a planning, I think, question.
Because the joke was nobody was going to buy a kale pie or a turnip pie, but I wouldn't. But
Thank you. And through the chair, the rules aren't that specific. I do believe there is some latitude in terms of what is possible. Again, the wording that, as we understand it, is it provides for on-farm diversified and then secondary uses as well. So there is a little bit of interpretation that is it is required, but it is the intent is that it be related to the agricultural function of the property. In terms of specific policy details, we are actually looking at enabling on-farm diversified uses and secondary uses through Envision Durham, and a set of policy criteria are included in there as well. But if there are any sort of specifics that way, perhaps Ms. Goodchild might be able to speak to that a bit further.
And in the case I'm thinking of, and maybe this is an added wrinkle to it that you've already considered, but the farm I had in mind, the boundary for the green belt and the white belt went through the farm. So on one side of the line, you could do certain things. On the other side of the line, you couldn't. But there's a number of areas in Pickering that are also covered by provincial MZOs, ones, not new ones that have been there for decades when the province expropriated the land, and other federal regulations with respect to protecting from uses that might infringe on a potential airport use. So you've through this exercise, you've accommodated for or looked at what the federal regulations and the provincial MZO barriers or opportunities might be that's enshrined in those planning documents as well. And
Do you want to take that one, Gary, or would you like me to?
I'm not sure I have a direct answer on it, but perhaps if you could rephrase that in terms of are there specific uses in an MZO that may or may not meet that criteria, or just looking for a little bit of clarity there?
I can maybe give you an example. I know of a tree nursery business in Pickering that's covered by the area of an MZO. And every time they want to do something on that property where the city may feel it's appropriate for the business, it has to be vetted through the provincial officials to interpret an MZO that's been there 10 years and is probably out of date, and they're not moving quickly to update it. So there's always that second filter that, okay, you need to put up a garage to have keep your farm equipment in and keep seed in. We're okay with that, but you got to go speak to the folks of the province to see if they consider that a compatible use or not. So because of the MZOs, and probably the same example applies to the federal regulations as well, that there's an extra vetting through another level of government. And I just wondered if is that something that you've taken into to consideration, and maybe not in the short term, but maybe in the long term, that when the province gets around to updating those MZOs, maybe we can have influence on that to make it a little easier from some of the people who are trying to run diversified uses off their land.
Right. Well, and thank you for the question. The policy context that we've looked at through the regional official plan review is to provide general language in order to allow the ability for on-site circumstances to reflect what is actually occurring. In terms of the interpretation of an MZO, it's obviously it's specific to that individual bylaw. A new MZO would be informed by the new policy and by the new guidelines. So I think there is an ability through the drafting of any new MZO to reflect the intent of that new policy, but it really comes down to the drafting to ensure that the intent is appropriately reflected.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was part of the thought process, that at least in Pickering, there are those existing other levels, being the federal regulations and the provincial MZOs that are out there. And so we can, take that into account. We can prepare whatever we think is best, but there might be an additional hurdle there down the road, given the other levels of government involvement. So thank you.
Yeah, of course, when you get another level of government involved, it becomes tricky if they had authority over something. But my understanding of what we're doing here is to help the municipalities, especially those that have more agriculture, because I think we all have some. I mean, we have some farms in North Oshawa as well. But on helping them to make those arrangements with their zoning that they have to look at, because the land is obviously zoned for agricultural use, and now they want to have a different use. And this staff and this report is to assist those municipalities in making the decision, and the planners in those municipalities say, yeah, this fits in with at least the intent of the policy, and if it requires another look by a higher level of government because there's some kind of overarching control, then at least you have that information as well to say, well, this is what we're doing in the region, and maybe it's a way to poke at the next level of government to say you need to approve this because it fits in with what we're doing here, or build the airport, in that case. Am I on the right track, Stacey?
You got it.
Smarter than I looked this morning, I guess.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Well done again, Stacey. Thanks very much. So next on the list, we have Mr. Ivan Batty, the delegation on airports in Durham Region. Morning, Mr. Batty.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. I have some distributions that I would like to give out to enable this a little bit, if that would be all right.
What kind of distribution? Is this in addition to all the stuff you sent in?
Marginally, yes.
Okay,
but it includes what I sent in.
It's something that the clerk can pass out to the committee afterwards. The clerk can pass it out to the committee afterwards. Because if you give it out now and they're going to start reading that, then you're not going to pay attention to your delegation. That's the problem with handing out new documents at a meeting.
It's functionally 3 pages of an explanation of what I say.
Yeah.
The other part of it is the reality is you're not able to dual screen, and the document introduction really needs to be looked at and then dual screen on.
Okay, well, let's start with your delegation, okay? Because you only have 5 minutes, and we need to get you started here. Okay, are you ready?
No. This document here is goes with that document, and it enables your people to basically deal with the initial document.
Okay, Mr. Vaddy,
Yes, sir.
you have 5 minutes to delegate, to tell us what you want to tell us. Coming at this late minute and wanting to give us a pile of information for us to read before you delegate or during your delegation does not help your situation. So you either want to speak today or you want to pass out papers. Can't have both. So are you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you have 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Capacity is a word. It also happens to be a number. And you do not have capacity at Toronto International Airport. You will unlikely have capacity at Toronto International Airport for 6 runways in anybody here lifetime. Certainly your working lifetime. Article 44 is a contract. It's a national contract. Gary Polonsky clearly tells you that it has validity and what it is valid on. And there's no material that you have anywhere to suggest that is not a hard fact. It is functionally unacceptable and should not have happened in council that a forecast of 5,000 and 20,000 should have been given to you. It is unacceptable that a director from the GTAA walked in here and lied to you.
So, Mr. You have to watch your language. You can't come in here and call somebody that's been in council a liar.
You're quite
Okay.
correct.
People make their presentations and this council decides. So
Yep.
please stay away from that language. Continue, sir.
Just for your verification, Laurie McKee agreed that his information was false. Okay. Your staff white paper was false. It was 8 months out of date when it was delivered and should have never been put before you. You can do nothing and everything will go on just fine. But otherwise, it leaves you in a difficult position to be being delivered incorrect information from multiple sources at various times. Oversights and attendance granted to Durham region were not exercised before the consultative committee. There's a serious lack of due diligence on the issue. I request this matter to go forward to the next council meeting. There are a number of motions report required, in my view, to amend your position, which based on false, and they're long overdue. Both the mayors in Oshawa and Durham have approaching public reports that provide an opportunity for public discourse, most particular on the closure of Oshawa. The Oshawa closure, if you do nothing, puts you down the rabbit hole. Okay. Otherwise, you're at risk of class action lawsuits. If you have any questions with regard to any of the material put before you, I'd be happy to answer them. I understand it's very difficult.
Councillor Kirk.
Yes, I just have one question through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Batty, you've made some allegations here this morning. Would you mind clarifying for us, please, what's the substantiation for your claims?
They're provided in
No, I'd like to hear it from you, if you wouldn't mind, please.
what claim would you like substantiated?
Well, you've used some strong language, and you're making counterclaims. I just would like to know what the substantiation for your claims are.
If you're prepared to ask me about a specific one, I'm prepared to give you an exact answer. That is what the appendix is all about. As to the numbers, there's a substantial amount of documentation on the verification of numbers. There is a spreadsheet in this document here that outlines the capacity limits of Toronto International Airport. Toronto International capacity limit is over 1 million at a 6 runway use, and at a practical capacity is 850,000. The capacity limits of Toronto is operating now at 200,000 approximately. That's COVID related. Highest number it ever got was 475,000. The original plan, which you have documented in this document, suggested that Toronto would reach 5 runway practical capacity at 520,000 in 2013. And it would reach 6 runway total capacity in 2023. We're in 2023. We're not at 520,000. We probably won't be at 520,000 for a number of years. The forecast of Toronto International originally was 2013. It's now moved to 2037. It will now be beyond that significantly. The errors are enormous.
Okay, thank you for your background on that. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I see no other questions. Thank you, Mr. Batty. Just so the committee knows, the Region of Durham Council has no authority over the Oshawa Airport as far as whether it stays open or not. So,
Could I make a comment?
no,
on
you
that?
can't. You can't. You're finished. You're finished. That's my comment, the chair. I thanked you.
Oh, I didn't. I wasn't aware you said I was finished.
I did. I said thank you, Mr. Batty.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Turn off this mic.
No more questions.
Okay, moving on to the agenda. Number 7, 7.1, correspondence from the town of Ajax, resolution passed at their council meeting held on January 23rd, 2023, regarding accelerating development of thousands of new housing units. Does anybody want to do anything with that? Anybody? Mayor Collier?
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move that we endorse, moved by myself, second by Councillor Kerr, and I'd just like to speak to it quickly, please.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. We brought this forward. I brought this forward at our last council meeting because we are trying very hard to accelerate thousands of units in the region. We've gone through the municipal comprehensive review process. These 5 properties are 5 properties that the town of Ajax Council approved in February of 2021, and the Region of Durham's councils, both planning and council, approved in December of 2021 as part of the municipal comprehensive review. And unfortunately, just due to the Planning Act, they are still captured in the, I know the MTSAs have gone forward, but these particular conversion requests have been captured in the MCR bundle until it's complete and goes to the province, probably in a couple of months. I think maybe April, May, whenever it is concluded. After that, it's going to take however long the province takes to approve it, and then has to go through both regional and municipal official plan updates as well as zoning bylaw updates, which is anywhere from 15 to 18 months on average. We've gone ahead and I think taken a leadership role in this and moving this forward, asking the province to give us MZOs on these now. They have not bypassed the planning process. They've gone through the planning process and received, as I said, municipal and regional approval. And what we're really trying to do is demonstrate to the province that we are proactive, we're all on the same page, and we want to get this done. The province opening up greenbelt lands in the Region of Durham without consultation and without servicing is not going to help us move forward. What's going to help us move forward is, and I hope other municipalities may follow this lead, moving these pre-approved conversions forward and getting these housings in place. The other thing I like about this, MZO is not a bad word. MZO is a bad word when it's not used responsibly and bypasses the planning process, in my opinion. This has gone through the planning process, but once the MCR completes, and if the province approves and we update our official plans, it goes from employment to residential, period. There's no mechanism to make sure that the concept plans that we saw when each municipality approved these conversions is actually what we're going to see at the end. They could come back, sell to another developer, come back with application for plan of townhouses, for instance, or something completely opposite to the high density mixed use that we made these decisions on. Through the use of a minister's zoning order, we're able to stipulate exactly what's in there. We've spoken to the province. The province has asked us to provide them exactly what we want in the MZO. The number of units of residential, the number of units of commercial space, the height density or the heights of the buildings. We're even putting in there that we want a site plan submitted within 1 year of the MZO request, or we will apply to have it rescinded, to make sure that these lands get moving, that we're not accelerating to just have it sit. We're serious about producing new housing in the region of Durham. And so I just wanted to have this pulled and endorsed just so I could say those things, and hopefully my other neighbors will sort of do the same thing and demonstrate the province we can do what they want us to do. They don't need to be opening up the Greenbelt to do it at this point. Thank you, Chair.
Councillor Kerr, did you want to say anything as the seconder? Hold on, we got to get your mic here.
There we go. I have a few questions. I seconded this to get it on the floor so I could ask these questions.
Go ahead.
Of staff, through you, what's the difference in timing between an MZO and the, might I say, typical approved process for processing these types of developments?
Okay, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Mayor Collier laid out it pretty well, saying that we're on track to wrap up our municipal comprehensive review. It then goes to the minister for approval. We don't know how long that will take, but when the regional official plan is in place, then the town would proceed to do the site-specific official plan and the zoning to enable this to proceed. And he gave a time estimate, I think, of 15 months or starting here, 15 to 18 months, which is accurate. So I don't have any difficulty with that information that has been provided in terms of a time frame. So from the time of ministerial approval of the region's new OP, you'd be in that year to two time frame.
So
15 to 18.
So it's not really that much of a significant difference from the way we do things now in terms of timing to have this MZO?
Through you, Mr. Chair, if I may, and just add a few points along that. I think I would want to acknowledge that the 5 properties, as the mayor said, were properties that were endorsed by council in December of 2021. So that's there. Number 2, I think it's relevant to say that Durham Region Council is on record as acknowledging the need for more housing quickly. So no argument there. If these 5 properties are chomping at the bit and ready to go and deliver on housing, then, despite a planner's general concerns around MZOs and the lack of process, perhaps, in terms of engagement for the public in the detailed analysis and review of certain technical studies, there would, an MZO, when there's really something ready to go, can be an appropriate tool.
Thank you. I guess that flows into my next area question, which was, is there a need for public input on this? Typically there is. Will that happen in this case, or will this be basically full steam ahead and get the project going without that public input?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there's been some, to the extent that it's been a resolution on a Ajax Council agenda, it has been transparent from that standpoint for the public to see.
Okay.
I think what, again, is always missing from a MZO process is there's no prescribed requirement for that type of public process like we would see in a conventional rezoning. And as I mentioned, it's the conventional rezoning process, typically where neighboring landowners, the public, etc., can see the analysis that is being done on certain technical requirements. There's no process under the Planning Act to enact a minister's zoning order. no requirement for technical studies, no requirement for public meetings, etc. So that's the way. The Minister's Zoning Order is an extraordinary tool, in my view, to be used in extraordinary circumstances. The extraordinary circumstances here might be, the agreed upon need for housing, and if it is the case that these 5 landowners are really ready to go and address that need.
Okay. In Oshawa, we have this and we go through a public input process. That's what I'm used to, so that this appears to be a little different. So I'm trying to get my head around that. And the last area of questioning is, I'm getting the nod from Councillor Collier that the developers of these properties are certainly ready to go. My third area of question would be the residence type and what spectrum of residential units and price range are we looking at, and how many of these will be what is classically called, not market-wise, but classically called affordable housing? Because that's where we seem to have a great need in the region. I know we do in Oshawa for more affordable housing units. And I don't mean whether somebody can actually dig in their pocket and write a check. I mean whether they actually have any money in their pocket to pay their rent or where they live. So what is there a spectrum or a range of types of housing for these 5 developments? And if so, has that been given consideration?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I don't have any particular details on any of these 5 projects, but I would point out in the resolution, paragraph 2, affordable and below market rent options shall be included in the housing mix where feasible. Beyond that, I have no details.
Where feasible, but there's no hard percentage or whatever. Okay. I guess this is an Ajax decision. It might not be the way I'm typically used to seeing things, but I guess that's what it comes down to. So thank you very much for the information.
Councillor Pickles, just getting used to how this screen works to turn on your mic.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm just looking at the motion and maybe through you, planning staff, or maybe the mayor can clarify. But in the Ajax motion, it was circulated to, or at least the direction was it be circulated to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, the local MPP, and that part of the motion requested that the ministry engage the town of Ajax planning staff. And so I wonder if there's been any response back from the minister, the ministry, or the MPP as was set out in the Ajax motion. Thank you.
I think perhaps the mayor can answer that, Mayor Collier.
Absolutely, and I would like to just expand on some of Councillor Kerr's questions as well. Absolutely, our MPP is on side. Through her, we reached out to Municipal Affairs and Housing before we started this process, and they are the ones that advised us on how they wanted this done. They don't want to be the ones picking and choosing, from what I'm told, what goes in. They want us to provide them based on each concept plan. So what our staff have done is reached out to the 5 developers based on their concept plans and asked them to break down and provide the particulars, number of units of residential, number of square meters of commercial space, number of heights, number of setbacks, all the different things will go into these. And so we can make sure that what we see is what we get, as well as we define the time frame.
Okay. The question was, have you heard back from them? So I don't know. Does that answer your? Because Councillor Pickles actually has the floor.
Okay.
And he asked the question. You were answering it. So
it's a negotiation.
You'll get your time. You'll get your time to speak if you want further. But Councillor Pickles has the floor.
I guess the specific question, and I think that the mayor may have been getting to it, was that since the motion has been passed at Ajax Council and distributed to the minister, have they heard back from the minister and or the ministry on the specific request? I think the mayor had noted that they were providing some input prior to the motion being
So the question, Mayor Collier,
subsequent to
the question is, have you heard back? That's pretty simple, yes or no.
No, we're not at that stage.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it. Okay. Now you have your chance. You still want to speak,
Sure.
Mayor? Go ahead.
Well, just to clarify, one, I'm bringing this to the region. We don't need the region's support on this. We've already made the request, and it's going. I just wanted to bring this forward for others to consider. We can't put in specifically for affordable housing because we don't control it. That is both at the federal level through CMHC or the provincial level through the Region of Durham Health and Social Services. So we can't spend other forms of government's money. What we can do is make very clear through this that that is an expectation of us through this. We're creating 4,100 new residential units, 50,000 square meters of commercial space. We're preserving the jobs on these lands that are being converted from employment to residential, plus providing much needed residential, hopefully with 10 to 15% affordability factor. And we're knocking about 18 months off the process. And yes, these developers are ready to go. We've spoken to them quite some time ago. They're ready to submit site plan almost immediately, assuming the minister does approve this request. Hope that answered the other question. Thank you.
Great. Anything else, Councillor Pickles? No?
No.
Councillor Neal, you have to put in a request to speak there so I can.
No, I was just going to ask.
You have to put in a request.
Could the resolution be put up on the screen?
Do we have it? Can you put it up there? Yeah, you have to give us a second there. It was sent out to everybody.
It's pretty substantive, so.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying for the public. I mean, they do have some input.
Yep. Take a minute. That's the only point you had, Councillor Neal? Okay, so we'll move on to Councillor Shaheed. If you have some questions or comments. Can you turn your microphone off there, Councillor? Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought you turned it off automatically.
No.
That's okay. Thank you so much. Chair Chapman, through you to Mayor Collier. You just mentioned a couple of times for others to consider or other municipalities to take lead on this. Can you please expand on that?
Mayor?
Sure, or maybe Mr. Bridgman can. Through the municipal comprehensive review process, Ajax had 15 conversion requests. I think all the other municipalities had some, and I don't remember how many each municipality approved, but I think almost everybody approved some conversion requests in their individual municipalities. So these are all covered through the MCR process, and they are still working their way through the system. If nothing happens, those will be probably approved in about 18 months and ready to go. We're just trying to move that forward. But yeah, there's others in other municipalities as well.
And none of these are, we didn't approve every one that Ajax brought forward, but none of these are any of the ones that Regional Council didn't approve, because there are some that Regional Council didn't approve for those conversions. They are not any of these, 5? Just so you know that.
Thank you. And just for my clarity through you, Chair Chapman, these weren't approved by the region. Mayor Collier is trying to bring light to it. I understand that. Now, my question is, how would this move forward? Are the developers looking to push through this, or there is some dollars that you're trying to seek from the province? The developers are trying to.
This would all be market driven. They're ready to go. We've had this sort of in the works since December of 2021 when the region approved. We've been trying to move this forward.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Appreciate it.
So my understanding is that the Ajax brought this when we were doing the original municipal comprehensive review back in December of 2021, was it, Commissioner? Like a number of communities brought in ones to convert, and like a number of communities, some got converted, some got approved by the region to say, yep, this makes sense. Nope, this doesn't make sense. And then they went off, and then we went in last year. The last council approved the actual 2A for the whole thing. And then the final part of the municipal conversion review is being worked on. The Envision Durham is being worked on now. But I think what Ajax is trying to do is say, in December, this council supported changing it to employment, or from employment to residential, in this case mixed use, and that they have some ready, willing, and able people to build those houses, and it would get them online quicker. Am I correct? Anything you have on that, Commissioner? Anything to add to that?
No, thank you, Chair.
Okay. Councillor Neal.
Yeah. So in other words, the regional staff are endorsing this.
The which?
The regional staff, planning staff are endorsing this motion.
I don't think they're endorsing it. I don't think they have any objection to it.
Okay.
Am I correct, Commissioner?
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. The point about approval was that regional council has already approved this
Yep.
conversion, and what the commissioner has said about planning staff get a little MZOs and how it interrupts the process, because remember, planners are very well organized and follow the system, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So they're not endorsing it, but they're not opposed to it.
Yeah. So the infrastructure is there.
You're talking about like the regional infrastructure, like water, sewers,
Yep.
things like that. I would assume so. Yes.
Within our urban boundaries.
If you look at where these places are on all of them,
Yep.
they're all in areas that already have other residents and/or commercial and industrial type stuff. So the services and within the Ajax boundary, so the services would be in place. I would assume.
Yep.
Anybody else? No? Then on the motion to endorse, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, we will now move on to economic development reports. We have three. Report 2, which is Growing North Durham Rural Economic Development Action. Report 3, which is Best Practices for On-Farm Diversified Uses. And Report 4, Investment Attraction Metrics Annual Activity Report. Moved by Mayor Collier, all three of them, seconded by Councillor Shaid. Does anybody want to pull any of those to ask any questions? Yes, Councillor Shaid, which one?
The investment attraction matrix, please. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Mayor Foster, I just see that you're online. I saw you up there wanting to speak. I missed you. Okay. Then on the other two, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. On investment attraction metrics, go ahead. Hold on, you have to put your request in again, Councillor Shaid. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I don't think I'll ever get used to it, but thank you so much. I'm seeing the amazing work that was done for a number of years, and my question would be regarding, I believe it's page 2, 4.1, where 65%, I believe, leads were actioned. I read it somewhere. Sorry, my highlighter is not highlighting stuff, but 7 leads has been moved to closed and lost and things like that. So I'd just like to understand if staff could explain more as to the time that it had started and the last report that it is for 2022. The parameters or the matrix that were set onto this, have we gained more momentum on it? And what kind of support would they need from different municipalities to strengthen this investment?
Yes, thank you for the question and through the chair. The first part is, are we seeing the numbers gain momentum? And the answer is certainly yes, we are. And I think that's a factor of a few different things. The first being emerging from the pandemic. You're seeing the global economy start to rapidly emerge from the pandemic, and there's a lot of pent-up investment demand out there, which we are capitalizing on. And as a result, we're seeing the lead numbers start to increase. Another factor is we have increased there's been a little bit of staff turnover, but we've increased our staff complement in terms of the investment attraction business development portfolio and putting a stronger focus on that lead generation and in the early stages of the sales funnel, which is definitely starting to bear fruit, and we're expecting to go very strong this year. And then the third factor, I believe, is we're seeing the growing reputation of our regional economy broadly, not just in Durham, but in the GTA, in Ontario, and even internationally. We're starting to become much more broadly known for our clean energy excellence, our capabilities in advanced automotive. And as that reputation starts to grow, the interest starts to grow as well. There's quite a few other factors, but those I think are three to highlight.
Thank you. Through you, Chair Chapman, I have a couple of more questions. How often do you collaborate with other municipalities and their economic development regarding this?
Right. Yes, through the chair. Sorry, I missed the second part of the question. We are very active collaborators with the area municipalities through what's called the Durham Economic Development Partnership, or the DEDP, which is comprised of area municipal economic development staff as well as regional economic development staff. We have a fairly established lead handling protocol, which means that if there is a prospective investor that comes into the region interested in establishing a physical presence and creating jobs, then we will reach out to every area municipality with that investor's requirements and say, okay, well, they need 27-foot clear height and they need 50,000 square feet. Area municipal teams will jump in and help with the identification of potentially suitable sites for that investor, and a variety of other information that may have been requested, or connections to local business, or that type of thing. We'll compile a comprehensive package for that investor, and then when time comes to actually showcase the region, take that investor around to look at different sites or showcase our value proposition. Area municipal staff will be involved there as well, as it pertains to aspects of that visit in that respective area municipality.
Thank you. And through you, Chair Chapman, I do have a couple of questions. Sorry, just keep on going.
Yeah,
That's
go
okay.
ahead. This is the place to ask them.
Thank you so much. So, is there a conversation happening with the provincial government regarding MTO lands and opening up those lands and making sure that we can really use it to our benefit to get this economic engine going?
Yes, through the chair. Definitely that the MTO lands have always been a particular focus of advocacy for the regional government as well as area municipalities. And certainly I know our chair has been a leader in that regard in communicating the need for the opening up of provincially owned lands for investment. And we are otherwise very involved with the provincial government at the staff level from an investment attraction perspective. So many of the leads you see in this staff report would have come as a result of our relationships with the province at different levels.
Thank you. And I was very impressed with the Ready, Set, Go as well, that the presentation that you had sent to us a few council meetings back. And and through you, Chair Chapman, my comment is the fact that we are ready. We are as Chair Henry often mentions, the fastest growing region in North America. I'd like to see the fact that with the assets we have in terms of the 401 series, the GO Train Junction and all of that, we can do more, and we are doing more. So my support will be there to make sure that we accelerate in high speed and we can, and happy to support this, and thank you for bringing this forward. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mayor Foster.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair.
There
Just a couple of questions through. Good morning. We can start that way. A couple of questions through you, Simon. If you look at where successful leads are generated, so we've got Appendix 4 where leads are coming from, and I appreciate that this is a very long, difficult process. But companies that have actually set up in Durham region, where did those leads come from? Do you know?
Yeah, through the chair. They come as a result of a variety of different channels into what we call our sales funnel, or our group of companies, a group of prospective investors. We've seen successful investments come through our own direct marketing efforts, where we go out and create our own leads, market the region, and promote ourselves for new investment. We do that through direct outreach to companies in other geographies. We've also seen.
So Simon, I'm sorry, I didn't articulate, which, and you're used to me, you know that I don't always do that. I guess I'm looking, what I'd be curious about would be metrics. If we look at, X number of successful leads, businesses, I'll make up the number, 12 businesses came to Durham last year. Do we keep track specifically of where those leads came from? And I'm asking the question because that may give us an idea of where we should best be spending our resources. So if one channel is far more successful than another, do you keep track of that?
Yes, through the chair, we do track that. We do track the deal source, and we can certainly report on that. I don't have the numbers in front of me for prior years, but absolutely, we recalibrate all the time. We look at what's working and what's not working, and certainly our team does recalibrate to make sure that we're spending our time, effort, and money on the most effective activities.
All right, thank you, and that would be of interest. And you're right that probably changes year over year. During the pandemic, trade missions were probably not a great source. Just a guess. Do you split out, similar to the frustrations that we had with Toronto Global? Do you split out where and report where business is coming to Durham?
Through the chair, could I ask for a clarification? Do you mean where do they invest? What area municipality?
So, well, which municipality? So, we were very frustrated with Toronto Global that, if 50 companies, set up shop in the GTA, the vast majority of those were in Toronto in our relationship, along with another number of 905s. But I'd be curious on a split by municipality. So we can keep track of who's doing well in this. This will lead into the next question. The reason I'd be curious about that is, do we follow up with companies that seem to be close? Why they didn't come? So are the lower tiers making requests that are pushing businesses away, and unless we have that information, we can't change what we're doing.
Through the chair, we do have information on where geographically investors land. I don't think we've reported on it in this report. We hadn't been planning to. I think largely because we consider a win a regional win, and any win in terms of an investor locating themselves in Durham region is a win for all of us. And through the LEAD protocol, of course, everyone has equal opportunity at every prospective investor that comes into the region. Why?
I agree with that, but I guess the point would be to drill down that if there is something Clarington is doing, we've got additional fees, or we're too slow, or we didn't show them love on that. If we don't get that information, it's not a benefit to us or Durham region. So if someone really wanted to come to Clarington and didn't because we really dropped the ball, that's a net loss to Durham region, right? So I'm wondering if, I guess it would almost be like an exit interview, if you would, and I'll leave that with you to think about. But I just wonder if it'd be helpful to drill down a bit more. But you're absolutely correct. A win for Durham is a win for Durham. So I'll leave you with that, and maybe we can follow up with chat. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Foster. Next is Mayor Wadden.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you to Simon. I think I found the answer, but just if you could just qualify all the year-end review matrix that are presented here, like the 7 leads and 4.4, where they've come from and so forth. Are they all new in 2022, or is there a way to know if, they've been several times at the table and we're still courting them, so to speak? Or I know that there was 7 leads that came from Toronto Global, for example. Have they come before, or are they new for 2022? Thank you.
Yeah, through the chair, the values reported in paragraph 4.1, the number of leads, that's just for 2022. Our sales pipeline is considerably larger, and it includes leads that have been in the pipeline or added to the pipeline in prior years, 2021, 2020, and even way further back, because the development cycle time is quite long on some investments, particularly in the larger manufacturing type investment decisions. And I'm relatively confident that I would say, I won't say all, I'm not that confident, but the vast majority of those are new. They would be net new to the region. We wouldn't have contacted them before or responded to a sales inquiry before.
So, further to that, if I may, Mr. Chair, of the 157 leads in 2022, am I correct in reading that only 2 have been successful and we're working on the 148 that are still open?
Through the chair, that's correct. And I think the low number is a factor that the sales pipeline does narrow considerably, but also it's very difficult to land a successful investment in the same year that you first make contact with that investor. It would be a fairly unique case where you have someone come to the table with their checkbook in hand, ready to buy a property in that same year, which is why that number is a small percentage of the total new leads in last year.
So, in a further report, will the 157 or the 148 that are still open, will they be reflected like in 2023, I guess, on their positioning?
Yes, through the chair, we're working on new, more user-friendly ways to report on our investment attraction metrics. We're looking to continuously improve the format of this report going forward so that we can capture leads from prior years. Where are they? What's happened? And to the earlier question from Mayor Foster, if they are closed lost, why did they leave? And we do respond to that question, or we do ask that question when we can. Yes, we're looking forward to doing more to report on our sales pipeline in the future.
Thank you. And one final question. Are the area municipalities apprised of the ones, and I guess that follows on Mayor Foster's comments as well, are they apprised of the ones that have come and gone and been lost?
Yeah, through the chair, we're looking to make sure that where available, we can share that information with area municipalities, not just on those that leave, but even those that are sitting in the sales funnel still making their decision. It is an unfortunate fact that many businesses that were a lead and depart will not share the reason why, just by virtue of us having worked through an intermediary, or they are the connection just goes cold. But where the information is available, certainly we'll make that available to area municipalities.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the report. Thank you, Chair Chapman.
Thank you, Mayor Lutton. Councillor McDougall.
Thank you, Chair Chapman, and thank you for the report. I just wanted to follow up on something that Mayor Foster had asked in terms of exit interviews, and following up on the near misses of the people who almost landed here but left. Do we also follow up on like businesses that are here, say like a concrete manufacturing business that was here, then decides to leave and set up somewhere else? Do we follow up with them as to why they would decide to take a significant number of jobs with them and leave the region?
Through the chair, that is a really good idea. I know that primarily the area municipal economic development staff have the lead relationship, at least for the Lakeshore municipalities, have the lead relationship with existing businesses, particularly the larger, cornerstone businesses in our economy. But certainly that's something I can bring back to the Durham Economic Development Partnership as a proposal. No, it's a good idea.
Yeah, that's always a good one to know, but it's more important to know when you hear the rumors that they might be leaving, the local area municipalities talking to them about why, in case there's something that can be resolved, right? Is there something we can do to make your stay here more comfortable type idea, right?
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you. Any others? No? Okay, thank you. Then on the report, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Next is Advisory Committee resolution from the Durham Agricultural Advisory Committee, the impacts on food prices and opportunities for advocacy to improve financial viability for the agri-food sector. I have a motion, Councillor Pickles move, Councillor Kerr to second. Any comments, questions, or otherwise? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We are now on, there's no confidential matters, other business. Councillor Neal.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. I was just wondering what, and this is in regard to the Envision Durham. What's the range of feedback to phase 2 of Envision Durham?
Commissioner?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. The range of feedback, there has been a lot of feedback, and I'll go back to November the 10th, which is the date that the maps, the allocations were released for public review. We've received the deadline for the comments there was January the 18th, and we received, I would say, a considerable number of comments from a spectrum of agencies as well as individuals. I don't have the exact number, but I'm going to look over at Gary. Would 60 be in the ballpark?
That, through the chair, I believe so, but perhaps more accurate numbers we can provide to the committee.
Yeah, Chair, if I could just
go ahead.
Maybe take that a little bit further than Councillor Neal. This Friday, we will be releasing the brand new official plan in its entirety. So taking the maps that were released on November the 10th and now knitting it all together with the policies, most of which have been seen over the course of the last few years in various other forms, in a comprehensive package. And that will go out for, again, public comment until April the 3rd. And I can tell you that there's what you'll be seeing on Friday in terms of the maps, etc., are unchanged from what went out on November the 10th. So now we've got a brand new consolidated document that is going out, and we are now on track to get this before council for its adoption and then onward to the province.
Okay, thanks for that. So, I mean, the range of feedback regarding the settlement area boundary expansion, draft mapping, and land needs, that'll all be included.
Well, yes, it'll be concluded in some way, shape, or form. I mean, there's from a staff perspective, we're aware that there's a number that have concerns. We've made our recommendations. We've received council direction to proceed on that path, and that's the path we're proceeding down.
All right. So the anticipated next steps, I guess, is that is just what you said, that there will be something coming back, and the process and the related timelines for next steps would be, as you mentioned.
Yes.
That's your next steps. Okay, thank you.
And just a good part to weigh in on our March 7th meeting. We have the regular business of this committee starting at 9:30 and hopefully be finished by 10:30. And at 11 is the statutory meeting regarding this. So it may be a long afternoon with people wanting to delegate or come and tell us stuff. So please keep that in mind when you're putting your calendar together for March 7th to try and keep the whole day open. Thank you. Next I have Chair Henry.
Thank you, Chair. Today, Council Committee moved a report on best practices on farm diversity uses. Chair, I'm wondering if it would be if this committee would recommend that the chair of our Durham Agriculture Advisory Committee, Zach Lahoon, would appear at the next council meeting.
Okay. So we want to make a motion to waive the rules to introduce a motion, correct?
To invite him on
Yeah,
behalf of the
and
committee.
seconder on waiving the rules, Councillor Neal, all in favor, opposed, it's carried. Your motion is to invite the chair of the Agriculture Advisory Committee to appear before the next regional council.
To present at the next.
Seconded by Councillor Kerr. Any questions, comments? All in favor, opposed, that's carried. Okay, thank you, Chair. Councillor Shahid.
Thank you. Through you, Chair Chapman, to Councillor Neil, I believe that was his question. I just wanted to expand on this about Envision Durham and its feedback. And I know on Friday there's more coming. I know that our mayor has also asked our Commissioner of Planning for some comments on the feedback and the massive feedback that we're getting from all over the region. I was wondering, would there be extensive staff recommendation or a memorandum to council to if the feedback's coming like this, if council should decide to go towards the feedback or any other way, is there a memorandum coming towards us as well?
Commissioner?
Through you, Mr. Chair, so there will be a covering report to what you'll be seeing on Friday, and it largely process oriented. It doesn't get into the details of the comments that we received. And again, that will be the covering report that will be before you on March the 7th for the big statutory public meeting. When we get to the point where we are recommending the final plan for council adoption, it's the practice that we have tabulated the comments and so that you can see how they've been addressed or not. Some people don't always, their wish or their request can't always be granted through the process, and we sort of identify. So, Chair, an example of that might be we continue to get some comments from various landowners whose lands are in the Greenbelt. And they say, well, I'd like to be in the urban boundary. We can't deal with that. We don't have the jurisdiction under the Greenbelt Plan to amend the Greenbelt Plan. So those just automatically can't be considered. So that's just an example of how we would tabulate the comments that we've received.
Now, through you, Chair Chapman, is there a correlation of the fact that Envision Durham, regardless of Bill 23 or not, if we try to make any changes, Bill 23 supersedes it somehow?
I'll start. I'm not sure. I'll try to answer your question as best I can and sort of tie it into Bill 23. So there are some portions of Bill 23 that, when they're proclaimed, will affect the role of regional planning and the regional official plan. Those sections haven't been proclaimed yet, and we don't know when they're going to be proclaimed. In the meantime, we are being encouraged by the province, and we're being encouraged by our lower tier counterparts to press on, continue, and complete the regional official plan. Because in addition to the urban boundaries and the 2051 timeframe, it contains a lot of rich content in terms of policies on all manner of things, whether it be greenlands and agriculture and transportation and active transportation and a whole variety of things that the area municipalities would like to have the benefit of when they proceed to update their plans. So we are very keen to move forward. At some point in time, Councillor, as you say, Bill 23, whenever it's proclaimed, will put the jurisdiction of the region's plan at the lower level, and we don't know when that'll be.
Thank you. And through you, Chair Chapman, thank you so much for your comments and clarity. We have no idea of a proclamation date at this point.
Correct.
All right. Thank you so much. That'll be all. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Mayor Collier.
Thank you, Chair. And it appears I'm not the only one getting a lot of feedback on Envision Durham and some of the changes made on Bill 23. I wish to refer to the January 16th meeting at Clarington Council, their Special Planning Development Committee, where a motion was passed making a couple of requests. Number 4, that Council requests the region to reassess the land needs and the SABEs required to accommodate the endorsed growth scenario 2A to account for the lands in Durham region that were recently removed from the Greenbelt area. My understanding is of the 7,000 odd acres of land opened up in the Greenbelt by the province, 4,500 of those acres are in Durham, and they have not been considered as part of our urban boundary settlement expansion. So I guess my first question is through you to Mr. Bridgman. Will you be looking at that, or what does this committee or this council need to do to have staff look at that through this MCR process?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So the land need scenario that council has approved, we'll just try and get the numbers together. The scenario 2A, 9,100 acres approximately. The Greenbelt takeout lands, as you say, in Durham region, about 4,500.
Yep.
To our understanding, and we have not received anything from the province otherwise, the 4,500 acres of Greenbelt takeout is above and beyond the 9,100 acres that council approved in May. So we are proceeding on that path. I've asked for some clarification. I haven't received any. Now, just to speak a moment, Chair, to the Clarington letter, and we'll be meeting with them to sort of clarify a few things. When we received the council direction on May 25th last year to deploy the 9,100 acres, that's what we did. And so of that 9,100 acres, a lot of the land is in Pickering, almost all the White Belt land in Whitby, almost all the White Belt land in Oshawa has been consumed. And it really meant, from a practical point of view, the rest had to go to Clarington. If they're saying they've got too much new urban land, we are mandated to deploy that 9,100 acres, and that's where a lot of it lands.
Well, that's my question, Mr. Bridgman. This regional council, whether I support it or not, made the decision on May 25th last year to go ahead with scenario 2A based on a set of facts at the time. That has now changed. And it makes sense to me that we would go back and revisit that. So my question is, what would need to be done? Would I need to bring a motion to planning or a motion to regional council in a couple of weeks to request that planning staff go back and look at that?
It's a decision of regional council. Correct. So if you want to change a decision of regional council, it's a reconsideration at council. It's not a decision of this committee.
Okay. So my further comment, Mr. Chair, is since the procedural bylaw was not changed in December to reset the clock on the 12-month reconsideration, we would have to go through a 2/3.
Correct.
There is no other way for the region planning staff to look at that. The only way is through a motion to reconsider.
That's correct.
That's the question.
Correct. That's right. Council, by approval of the resolution or the recommendation at the time that came from planning to regional council, that gives direction to the staff to do the work that's associated with finalizing that decision of council.
Got it. So we've made a decision to expand the urban settlement area by 9,100 odd acres. We now have an extra 4,500. So in essence, we're going to do a 13,000, almost 14,000 acres of extra land. That also didn't, as per your special memo back in May of last year, didn't account for the lands that we had already allocated through conversion requests, which was another, I think it was 1,600 or something acres. Mr. Bridgman, as a professional planner, do you feel that we should be going back and looking at these new sets of facts and these new Greenbelt lands and considering those?
I'm not going to let him answer. That's a political question, whether council wants him to do that or not. The commissioner and his staff have had direction by a decision of council. To ask him how he feels about that decision and what should be done about it is inappropriate.
Actually, I'm asking for his professional
planning. No, it's out of order.
Fair enough. I'll be bringing that motion at the end of the month. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Councillor Pickles.
Thank you, Chair. I think Mr. Bridgman mentioned he had received a lot of comments. How much is a lot? Dozens, hundreds, thousands?
Yeah, we sort of looked about 60. Now I will look to Colleen to see if she has a more accurate number than that.
Sure. Through you, Mr. Chair, I think you're talking about some particular comments that we were receiving through the email campaign, which was as of Monday, 150 were related to that. But overall, I don't have the total number of submissions that we have, but we have submissions from area municipalities, some agencies, private landowners, and then a number of emails from members of the public who may not be directly affected but have concerns related to the settlement area boundary expansion.
So of the comments we've received from members of the public, some might have come sort of in an independent email, but I think you referred to a social media site that perhaps has a petition or generates a template letter, for lack of a better word. Change.org or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with which one they're using. However, there has been a number of email campaigns over the course of Envision Durham that allow people to add their own issues to perhaps some general wording that they're provided.
So there is a consistent general wording. Sometimes that's used exactly. Sometimes that's added to or taken away from or amended a little bit.
Through you, Mr. Chair. That's correct. But also the who the email is sent to is also potentially changed depending on what that individual wants to do, whether it goes to Chair Henry, whether it goes to Envision Durham directly, my team, or whether it goes to some of the other council members sitting here.
And of the ones
the commissioner has got a point on that, if you don't mind, Councillor Pickles. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. If Councillor Pickles, if you're talking about the emails that have come in the last couple of days since the weekend, yeah, it's over 100. And we have responded. We have prepared a response to that, and those are in the process of going out to those that have written in so far. It's a standard response to the standard request, and the request was largely that the process be paused. I think that was their subject line, and the response is, and I've just got the response in front of me. It is important that the region continue its process on the draft new official plan. The completion of the MCR by mid-year will enable the initiation of extensive service and infrastructure planning to support the region's forecasted levels of growth while supporting Durham's 8 area municipalities as they initiate their official plan reviews. So,
I was curious as to what percentage of those are the sort of, and I'll say social media driven, the template, the petition, the change.org. So a lot of them, when they come in, are the same letter, maybe slightly modified, maybe slightly directed to
basically the
something
same.
else.
Right.
In those ones that come in that format, do they contain the name and address of the people sending? Because I've received some. It's just
I've been getting them. I've been getting them too because they come. They've been addressing some to the chair and some to the chair of the committee, and that some of them have their name and where they're from. A lot of them are outside of the region, and it's from a website. Because if you look at it's info at whatever it is .org to do this. And my understanding in having some of the people that's names on there is that they signed up for something different than this, and they're using their email. So some of it's just a form letter. If they're adding some of their own comments to it, that's a different issue. That's where I take it as actually comments on the process, as opposed to let's just send 1,000 emails saying one thing and that'll turn everybody's minds. But
okay, thank you. I was just trying to get an idea of the originality, whether there was a similar one, and whether they were identifying the origin of the, I'll say resident for lack of a better word.
It's all in,
some are outside of the region as well.
It's all in looking at the email address from, and some of those are info at whatever the site is, and they're putting their name and address at the bottom. Like I say, most of the ones that I've seen are from outside the region, and then there's individuals that bchapman at oshawa.ca has sent a message with a comment that's a different.
Yep.
To me, it has a different weight to it.
Okay,
so
thank you,
Mayor Foster.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So interesting observation on where people come from. I'll share with you on some applications at Clarington. We are requiring people's addresses. So we had a pretty confrontational and controversial issue a while back, and discovered that a significant, if not a majority, of people sending us comments did not live in the municipality at all. Very quickly, through you to Mr. Bridgman. Mr. Bridgman, could you share the response? Or have you and I simply haven't seen it?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I didn't quite catch. Are you saying, can I share the response?
Yes, please. It would be
Yes,
it would be
sure.
helpful for us to know what is being, because we are all getting these emails.
Yes,
Will do. Yeah, you'll send it out.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you ever so much, Mr. Chair.
Thanks, Mayor Foster. That's it for other business. Could I have a motion to adjourn, please? Councillor Shahid, seconded by Councillor Neal. And anybody opposed? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Remember, set your calendar. Yeah, and if you have any questions, by the way, there'll be a presentation by staff after you've read the reports. But if you have any questions, please forward them to the commissioner in advance. If you have any questions on that report that comes out, so that he can talk to the. Yeah, and we're going to do the budget first thing in the thing there. So if you have any points for the budget, okay. Thanks for your time today, folks. Have a good day.